Tensions have been escalating in Manipur. There is a wave of violence that has hit Manipur in the past week. The state has witnessed 4 back-to-back drones and rocket attacks. Apart from these attacks, there are 5 people that have been killed by a rocket attack at Manipur's former chief minister's residence. There are so far 11 people that have been killed in the last 10 days. A curfew has now been imposed in 3 districts of Manipur, which are Imphal East, Imphal West and Thubal. Meanwhile, internet has also been suspended in 5 valley districts of Manipur. The centre has deployed over 2,000 CRPF and a total of 92 checkpoints have been set up across the state. Amidst the surge in violence in Manipur, protests have broken out. Hundreds of students have taken to the streets in Manipur and marched towards the governor's residence. Their demand is to remove the DGP of Manipur Police as well as the security advisor to the state government. As demonstrations rage outside the Raj Bhavan, clashes also broke out, prompting tear gas shelling by the security forces. Now, amidst curfews and internet bans and shutdown of schools and colleges, there are 2 core issues that need utmost attention. The first is about the future of the Kuki and the Meeti communities and some harmony that needs to be brought forth to ensure that there is peace and welfare that is spread in the state. Meanwhile, there is another more sinister question to which a solution is demanded, which is who is providing these drones and rockets and training these militants in the state of Manipur? How do they operate these drones it's for now the time for urgent action to take place in Manipur. I'm going to start my conversation with the panelists who joined me on the telecast. I have with me PK Mishra. He's the former ADG BSF. PK Mishra, it's a difficult conundrum to get out of. On one hand, you have these 2 communities that have been at loggerheads with each other for the past several decades. There are students, protesters who have come out in large numbers. What they do not want is the central government to take control, take over. So therefore, there has been agitation and questions being raised as to why have the CRPF forces been deployed in the region. Now, on one hand, there are the sensitivities of the locals that have to be kept in mind. On the other hand, the central government, the Home Ministry has to ensure that our borders are secure, to ensure that the countries along our border are not taking advantage of the internal turmoil and thereby bringing about arms, drug trafficking taking place. And also now the first of the cases that happened, there were drone attacks that had been launched that led to the death of many individuals, many civilians. There was a rocket attack that led to the deaths of individuals. Questions arise, do you think this is a catch-22 situation for the government of India to tackle at this time?
Yes, I can tell you that why this is continuing it all started due to the court's order for giving ST status to Meiteis. That it started from May 2023, and just see till today we had loss of 236 lives in Manipur. Forget about the clash between Meiteis and Kukis. We have in Manipur police, we have Meiteis, Kukis, Nagas, Nepalis, and we have Bengals, the Muslims, and all mixed. So we cannot differentiate that Manipur police is biased, certainly not. But the students' demand, these demands of students, what all happened yesterday and also today, it cannot be compared to that of Bangladesh. We started for Islamic Chhatra Shibir. Here they are not Islamic Chhatra Shibir. What has happened? We have failed to give a solution to this class for more than 1 year. And these students, where they will go, where they will study, every day their school and colleges are closed. So their future is at stake. So we have to see that they should be hard. They should be definitely called for discussion by both the governors and chief ministers. Let us not give a communal angle. Let's not give a cookie and mighty class. But I can well tell you why the class is continuing. I know that, of course, we had so many speakers also, and the weapon you just mentioned about one rocket which fell at Moirang, one also fell at Torbuk Banglo, and drones were there in Portucaria, and definitely these are fired by experienced handlers. So where from it is coming and who are training them? It's all very easy. It's all because for decades we had poppy cultivation, and hills after hills, all the forests, they were burnt, and poppy cultivation started, and these people, those were there along with these migrants from Myanmar. They were collecting about 70,000 crores rupees per year, which is double that of the total budget of Manipur. This is what is money power they had. And as a lot of experts they have told, and I know it pretty well, that Manipur-Myanmar border is not fenced, is not guarded properly.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
And therefore, that is how.
Yes.
That is how these rebels, we have about 60,000 Myanmaris, those who have already entered, and a number of villages, new villages have come up. So there is a conflict between them and Maitis, and them and with Tamkhul Nagas. So I have personally seen so many such villages have come. Once you go to Khongkhang, towards More Khongkhang, from Khongkhang, you drop down to left-hand side towards Sita. You found new villages have come up. And you see, who were doing this poppy cultivation? Where those money they were going? Who were getting it? Do you think we people, once we were deployed there, we didn't know that it was happening? We didn't know that the border is open. We didn't know that the border is not fenced. Until today, when drone attack was there, even after that, the border is open. If you have counter-insurgency operation, not only in the plain, of course, the weapons which were looted from the police station by Maitis.
Yes, and it has been some time since those incidents happened. Have we at this point in time moved on? And there are other threats that the armed forces, the CRPF, the state police at this point in time have to stare at, have to encounter, has to face. I'm going to bring in Major General Gigi Dwivedi, and I again want to point out, there are the two facets to this situation that continues to escalate undeterred. One is about the internal conflict, and this is the Kuki-Meitei conflict that we are talking about. And second of all, the talk about how there are these insurgents that are being armed with sophisticated weapons, the likes of these drones and rockets, and they have been given training. So there is a systematic approach that has been utilized by these individuals, organizations who at this point in time are funding them and providing them with the equipment to attack our armed forces, to attack the police and attack the civilians.
Well, Megha, I think you rightly identified the two issues. One is the currently what exactly is happening on the ground, and secondly, who is behind or who is providing them these weapons and equipment. First and foremost, it's ironic that this problem has been allowed to aggravate over last 16 months because it was primarily a political problem and it has not been addressed in entirety. All that government current dispensation was doing was only band-aid solutions and some kind of interim crisis management, and that's why over 16 months the two communities had enough time to arm themselves and also to prepare for the kind of war that is going on today. Having commanded my division in these areas, well, I like to give you personal perspective, and also I keep a very close ear on the ground as to what is happening. First and foremost, Mega, current situation needs very immediate handling, and that is at the national level, because the current dispensation, the government, the police are not in position to handle it. Point number one. Second is the two communities. Let me tell you, Cookies and Maitis have lived in harmony for decades. They never had a problem. The problem only started in May when the High Court order gave instructions that the Schedule 6 and the reservation will also be now available to Métis. Now that's where the start point was, and this could have been nipped in the bud, but it has not happened. Now today the ground situation is that they are buffer zones, and these both the communities are armed, and the erstwhile militant. When I was there, the UNLF, the PLA, KYKLA, all these are now the Métis frontline soldiers, and on the other side, as a Cookies are concerned, KLA and the SO, that is the suspension of operation agreement that was signed rather in my headquarters in 2005. That's where it was actually draft was made and later on signed. Now these two groups are now the front vanguard of these two communities. From where the weapons are coming? Well, Myanmar, there's a civil war going on, and there's a gun trail that runs right from China into Thailand through Myanmar, and these equipment like drones, weapons are readily available, and you don't require much of training to launch the drones. This can be done over a short period of time. So what is this future now? First and foremost, I think we need to ensure that these clashes stop, and that can only happen if the armed forces are given more powers. Today, there's no Armed Forces Special Power Act in the valley.
Yeah,
so
but the question, that's what the question arises. The civilians are against armed forces and the CRPF to take control, to be deployed on the streets in the state of Manipur. And that's the massive conundrum that the government faces. You are not getting the cooperation of the locals. They come out on the streets, they are protesting against you and the decisions that you make, and on the other hand, you also have to ensure that your borders are secure.
You see, currently the students or the local population has no faith in the police, and they want some neutral power. They don't have faith even in the Assam Rifles. There have been a lot of protests. So Army is one agency which has credibility, which is neutral, and which commands respect among the civilian and the local population. I think the time has come that you not how to create a combined headquarters, give the situation to the armed forces and under one authority. And I suppose the current dispensation is not capable. I think the central has to step in. And my last point, Mega, is no more a Manipur problem, no more a Northeast problem. This problem is a nation problem, and it has to be handled at the national level and with highest priority. No more time can be wasted.
Okay. Suhas Chamka is the Director, Rights and Risk Analysis Group. Thank you so much for joining us. And how do you view the situation? What's your perception? Do you think it's unfortunately the government of India's hands tied in being able to ensure safety and security of people, of civilians?
Why should the government of India's hands be tied? After all, they have the sovereign power of the state. I think where the problem arises or lies is that you could see the statements of some of the former officials who have served in security forces, that it's not only the Métis and the Cookies who are divided. In fact, the security forces are completely divided. The perspectives of the Assam Rifles is completely different from the Manipur police, and they hold press conferences against each other. Is that the message the security forces of the country should be sending to the citizens of this country? Unfortunately not. And today, if we look at the situation in Manipur, the protest you could see that protesters are demanding what? They are demanding removal of the police chief, and they are demanding removal of the Assam Rifles. And police chief is the one, the security advisor, Kuldeep Singh, is the one sent by the central government. So you could see the pressure is not on the state government. The pressure is on the government of India. So in the entire process, there is a political power play because the local political leaders from the BJP, led by Biren Singh, they have turned the table against the Home Ministry, and Home Ministry from the beginning has been hesitant to take action on this because they believe that if they cannot bring the situation under control, so they will be held responsible. So that's one of the key factors. Tomorrow, if there is a president's rule, if the situation doesn't get under control, then of course people will be questioning the Ministry of Home Affairs, Home Ministers, and everybody, what are you doing? And at this point of time, they could always say, okay, Biren Singh is responsible. But I think I agree with Stan Dwivedi. The situation has changed. In May 2023, it was a local conflict between the Métis and the Kukis. And from October till today, the government of Myanmar has collapsed. So there is no counterpart on the other side. It's absolutely lawless situation on the other side. So if that's the lawless situation, then it's a national security issue.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It is a national security issue. Then why shouldn't the armed forces take control? Why are the CRPF at this point of time being heavily criticized by the locals? And you're talking about this power tussle, political power tussle, and where there is the center is being pitted against the state government. Do you think the action that had been taken a few months ago to barricade the entire border along Manipur and Myanmar was a step in the right direction, which had also witnessed a lot of criticism from the locals, especially the Kukis?
It is not going to be very easy to barricade the entire border, but I think what the government of India could have done from day one, that anybody who violates the law, either Kukis or the Métis, that the law take its own course. The problem is the law has not taken its own course. Instead, we have lost about 5,000 arms which are looted or given away from the armory, and everybody has been armed to the teeth apart from the arms coming from Myanmar. So from day one, the central government is not doing one particular thing. That is law enforcement. Not a single flag march has been held either in the valley or in the other, in the hills. So the law enforcement is the critical issue, and they have let it go on its own as if it will find a solution on its own. It is not going because the situation has changed. So I think the responsibility lies with the central government that, look, it's a country governed by the rule of law. Anybody takes law on his or her hands, you enforce the law. And till today, I think the police and the paramilitary forces are only doing one thing, which Dwivedi had mentioned. Just, crisis management. They are not using force. You will not see any security force except in one or two cases using force to enforce the law. So they are just peacekeeping there, and that's the problem.
Okay, all right. I also have with me Dr. Thongkalol Haukip. He's joining me from the Center for the Study of Law and Commerce from the JNU. Dr. Haukip, how do you view the situation? Is there a solution for peace that you can view that could happen in the coming months?
The situation in Manipur has been tense like this for the last 15 months, and both sides are blaming one another. Tu meme, it's the kind of thing. And just to start the conversation, I would like to request those analysts outside the state of Manipur to be critical to whatever either the Métis or Kukis said something. So Ms. Razi has been saying what exactly a Métis would say. I'm sorry to point it out, but you have to be a little bit critical of what Kukis say or either Métis say. So the Kukis have been demanding, even today if you look into the ANI news, you would find that Meghalaya Chief Minister Konark Sangma was suggesting, requesting the central government to intervene and bring a certain form of political solution so that peace may return, right? This is what the Kukis have been demanding. Let there be a certain form of political solution to this situation, and the people can start talking about peace. Let me come to the question of where do either the Kukis or Métis got drones. drones are used. Drones have been there in Imphal or in the hills since the last 1 decade for commercial use. Manipur is known for music, films, and others, and it has been thriving. So there are sophisticated drones. The problem is about weaponization, right? During this conflict, there is a child activist called DC Priya who flaunted in a video about shipment of drones to Imphal. She says that she can ship it within 1 day. Tomorrow it will be reaching. So, this kind of shipment of drones has been openly displayed from Delhi, and nobody was controlling. And these drones have been weaponized and used for surveillance as well as for even bombing. When we talk about drone bombing, it's not just last week. There is a village authority in Chirozanpur which claims that G. Shongal village was bombed by a drone on 16 December 2023. And there's another village called Khosabung, which also claims that they have been attacked by drone bombs, right? So when we talk about drones, bombs and others, look critically into the timeline of all this news, and it's upon us, right, analysts and other kind of intellectuals to make sense of what is happening there.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.